Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a nice round of applause for Frank Vincent Zappa.
We had wonderful Italian pasta, and they made it even special because Frank's Italian, and they brought out the best wine, Barolo. We only drank Barolo, and we had good grappa, and there was plenty of women all over the place. No, really, seriously. We had wonderful food, and we had incredible meals, and the people were wonderful because we were in Italy. When we went to Milano, and they had a riot outside because there were so many people and they were sold out the tickets, and there was as many people outside as there was inside, and so the people wanted to come in but they wouldn't let them in, and there were people outside telling them, hey, you shouldn't have to pay, the concert should be free anyway. And so the people, when they heard the music, they knocked the walls of the doors down. And we were playing in this stadium where they have the 10-day bicycle race, you know, this kind. And they knocked all the walls down, and all the people started coming in from every side, and they just filled up the whole arena. Incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And we were a little bit afraid because when we wanted to stop playing the music, they started pushing. Everyone started pushing the stage like this, and the whole stage was moving. And it was quite an experience. And so we went off the stage, and it got worse, and so we came back on the stage and played for another half an hour, and they were happy.
Well, the only band that I listened to back then was the Velvet Underground. Other than that, I was listening to all contemporary classical music. What about you?
I'm listening to the Beatles and a lot of the rhythm and blues songs, you know, maybe the Cream, but mostly I was interested in doing what we were doing. You know, that's the main thing, you know.
Yeah. What were you listening to, you know, after you joined the group?
After I joined the group or before I joined the group? After I joined the group, same thing I was listening to before. You know, I listened to James Brown, I listened to Frank Sinatra, I listened to George Duke, I listened to Rimsky-Korsakov, I listened to Eric Satie, I listened to Frank Sinatra, I listened to Stan Kenton, I listened to Rodgers and Hammerstein, the same people I listened to before, because joining Frank's band didn't make them any less in my book. As a matter of fact, they were the ones who prepared me to where I was able to deal with his music and, you know, the different types of things that he was trying to implement, you know, in his compositions. Yeah. So no, I listened to them even more, and I was happy that I listened to them before. You know, it was wonderful.
I never worked with him, but I got to know him, you know, fairly well after meeting him a bunch of times. And the thing that struck me about that Captain Beefheart was that when you met him and talked to him, it sounded like one of his records. I mean, that poetry was oozing out of him all the time.
Well, the thing was that him and Frank grew up in the high desert in Lancaster, California. And I played with Beefheart along with Art Tripp, who used to play with Frank also. And this was in '72 and '73. And it was interesting playing with Beefheart. And I was in Clear Spot, and I think also in Spotlight Kid.
He was practicing all the time. Every minute that he wasn't playing, he was somewhere in a room practicing. All these European scales, I mean Indian scales and Turkish scales and all the different scales, you know, of music from all these other different weird countries. And he would practice them all the time. And then he would implement them on stage and play them within the compositions that he had written, you know. And then he was also start to get a little funky and started playing, you know, stuff like that Johnny Guitar Watson would play, or Wah Wah Watson would play, you know, and I had to, you know, tell him a couple of times, man, that was funky tonight. That was really great, you know, and he would continue just to, that was my experience. I thought he was beautiful, fantastic guitar player, and I wasn't there when he played bad. When I came along, he was playing good because the other people around him demanded that he play good just because of their presence and because of their musicianship. George Duke, Ruth Underwood, Tom Fowler, Bruce Fowler, Ralph Humphrey, Chester Thompson, and Napoleon Murphy Brown.